Thank you so much, Annapurna. Thank you, HR Milestone. And I must say that I feel rather embarrassed and humbled by the response from you, as well as from my other colleagues of ISAPS. I, uh, if there is anything which I own about myself, uh, apart from the biodata that you have read out, which is nowhere in my mind, is the use of self. And in fact, when Archana talked to me about whether I would like to offer a session, I thought about it and I said, and she wanted something on culture and values. And I said, well, the easiest thing is because my work on culture and values is already, I have been doing it for 35 years and I can do it without any preparation whatsoever. And there is a lot of content I can give. And I also thought of certain other topics which are well prepared. I don't have to think about them. I don't have to work much except be there in the moment. But I challenged myself and asked my heart, what is it that I want to do with this community? And the answer came from deep within me that I want to talk about use of self, and particularly in these corona times, what's happening to us, what was happening to us before, what's happening now, what's going to happen in future. If we can even get a glimpse of how we can use self for the purpose of transformations which will be happening and which will be required when we are working after corona. So I chose this topic, and let me try to share my screen. Are you seeing my screen?
Yes, ma'am.
Is it in the presentation mode or?
No, ma'am.
It is, yeah, now it is in the presentation mode.
Now
Yeah.
it's in the presentation.
So I need to go back. Let me share with you, while I have attended hundreds of Zoom calls and
I will be taking care. Don't worry. You just tell me. I will take care of that.
okay, so this is one question I would like to ask you to think for a moment. That's the previous one, Harish, previous one. Yes, the next one. Yes. Can you honestly say that yesterday's 4 meetings at work were about work you value in life? Think back hard. In each of those meetings, did you sleepwalk or did you make distinct contribution consistent with big things in life that you value as a unique individual? Now, this was something doctors said decades ago. But we as HR people need to be still thinking about it. This is something so relevant even today. Do we really use this is in other words, he's saying, have we been using self in our day-to-day work? Are we bringing our values in work? So this session is about triggering some thoughts, triggering some reflections, triggering some maybe resolutions and commitments to work in that direction. Next one, please, Harish. Next. Yeah, so I have developed a vision for this session. Let's go back to the vision. So are you doing it, Harish?
Yes.
I need the previous one, vision for the session. Yes, this. So My vision for this session, it's a little audacious one, is that this group would engage in reflection and listening. And at the end of this session, each person in this group would have crystallized one deep value or intention to channelize for a culture transformation goal and make itself take it forward. The next one, please. Next, please. I'm hearing some sounds. Yeah, that one. Yes, please. The previous agenda. I think this is not working out well. Maybe I should be doing it. Yes, this one. So we will try to do some deep and authentic sharing of ourselves. We will do deep listening of our own self as well as others, and maybe hopefully we will do some transformation within, imagine a future for ourselves and make some commitment action plans. So this is what I'm hoping the agenda would be. It's a bit ambitious agenda, and with a certain kind of a process, we should be able to accomplish most of it, and which the process I shall be talking about. Next one, please. Now, this process will not be about transferring any knowledge from me to you, but creating something here, not necessarily knowledge, but creating something over here and with a possibility of transformation. And I have structured the session, but we'll hold it lightly. What is important is the purpose. We are already quite bound these days at home. So it's better to be able to fly in this session rather than be more bound. Next, please. Next slide, please. Yeah, so the design is like this, that first we will do some sharing, hopefully all, and I'll invite you to share either in chat or through speaking, both will be equally fine, and reflect on what we are hearing. That is very important. It's not about someone sharing for me to hear, but each one sharing for everyone to hear, and let it be going into you. Then creating a vision for culture transformation based on your deepest awareness, and then making commitments to self and identifying the next step. Even if we are not able to do all of it, as long as we have started in the right direction, I think it will be some job done. Next one. Are you with me till now?
Yes, Uma.
Yes, Uma.
Uh, any other responses? Any very burning question? Though I will be clarifying more. So what is self? Let me just let's be on common page as far as self is concerned. Self is about our feelings, about our thoughts, about our perceptions, about our attitudes, beliefs, values, preferences, which impact our choices. It is also about our habits, fears, unresolved needs, which often come in the way of reaching our true self and acting from our true self. All of the above aspects of self can be conscious or unconscious. And one of the work of knowing self is to make the unconscious conscious. And that can be done through reflection, disclosure, receiving feedback, and all kinds of tools, which all my ISABS colleagues are very familiar with, and many others are also these days very familiar with. But making the unconscious conscious is a fundamental part of uh, beginning to use your true self. Next, please. Now, for this session, the self is a very large arena, as you've seen. We shall be focusing on a few aspects of self, which I thought were relevant for this purpose. What is my mission? What is my big purpose in life? Am I aware of it? Who am I? What's my big purpose? What am I? Is there some awareness that I am on this earth for what? That's what we will be trying to focus on: values, feelings, wishes, and our perceptions. Noticing as well as not noticing, and interpretations, because what we notice as well as what we don't notice has an impact on what we do and what we believe and how we act. In this connection, I like to just share this quote uh, with you. Next one, please. Previous one, I think. Next one, maybe. Next one. Yeah. This is my favorite quote and interesting one. The range of what we think and do is limited by what we fail to notice. And because we fail to notice that we fail to notice, there is little we can do until we notice how failing to notice shapes our thoughts and deeds. Previous one, please. So there is a theory U, which has come into existence in the year 2006. And this is something I like to hear carefully. We cannot change, we cannot transform the behavior of systems unless we transform the quality of awareness and attention that people apply to their actions within these systems, both individually and collectively. So that's where I say noticing and not noticing both matter. And the whole task of self-awareness is to make that part of ourselves conscious, which we are not unconscious about, and noticing not just ourselves, noticing the other person, noticing the whole system, and acting from that awareness. So, next slide, next to next. Yes, next. Yeah, I like to just share with you. This is a very deep theory, but a glimpse of it I will give you so that we keep this in mind in the rest of the work that we'll be doing this evening. Uh, Normally, our pattern of listening is what is called downloading. We hear information and we immediately download our past patterns of habits, thinking, our judgments, our interpretations, and nothing really goes into us. And we just keep repeating what we are doing. So no transformation can then take place. So I'm talking about a new kind of listening, the listening which has three major components: open mind, that is capacity to suspend judgment and to inquire and to see same thing with fresh eyes and to access the sources of intellectual intelligence. So open mind. The second is the open heart, capacity to redirect attention and to use one's heart as an organ of perception. That is very significant. This is where comes seeing from the heart, being able to empathize, being able to place yourself in the shoes of the other person and to allow it to come into you, allow it to touch you, and to access the whole field rather than just my own self. that is the open heart. And the third is the open will, the capacity to let go of my old identity and intentions and tune into the future that is seeking to emerge through me or us. Let me just draw your attention, and I'm sure I don't need to tell you how many hundreds of messages these days are going around in WhatsApp, which talk about what is Corona teaching us, right or not? Have you seen them? Can I hear some responses?
Yes, Uma.
And how Corona is telling us.
Yeah.
Yeah, Indira?
Yeah. You go on. Uma.
Yeah, the Corona is teaching us that the way we have been living is not good. We have destroyed the environment. I saw one message in which it is also talking about how viruses used to live in forests. And since we have destroyed the forests, now we are, they are housing themselves in our bodies. Well, to what extent this is true or not, I don't know. But people are so excited by these messages and they keep transferring them to each other, forwarding them to each other. But how much of it we are imbibing in the way we are experiencing this lockdown? And are we in touch with what kind of world is needs to emerge post-corona? And whether or not corona completely goes away, what learnings we are getting from it and what kind of world we need to create. There, I don't see very clear work going on. It's an awareness, a fleeting feeling of awareness, and then going back to square one. So, next slide, please. Yeah, so there is this concept of presencing. And this is a combination of presence and sensing. So I am present and I am sensing and I am seeing from my deepest source, not just from my mind, not just from my heart, not just from my intellectual and emotional intelligence, but from my deepest source, that is the spiritual intelligence, and something which is seeking to emerge from within me, going at that level. I know it is difficult, but there are examples of it when people have acted from their deepest source, what kind of changes they have brought out in this world and what kind of contributions they have made. Next one, please, Harish. So now, based on all this, to put it in simple words, we are going to start some activity now. I would like you to keep a process in mind. Speak with openness and clarity about what you know, but with a sense of humility and curiosity. Be willing to consider a possibility that there could be another perspective which you might find more exciting, more inviting, more enticing, and allow it to go into you. Allow it to change you. Let your learning emerge from the deepest source. So this is something I would like you to keep in mind. So let's begin the next step. Next. Here I am Is someone wanting to say something? Neetu, you want to say something? So, no? Any question, comment at this stage, or are you ready to just get in?
Yeah, ready for this?
All right, great.
I have a suggestion, Uma, if
Yes.
you don't mind.
Yes.
My suggestion is if we can volunteer to share audibly and verbally in the mic rather than in the chat, because it is getting very difficult to follow the speed of the chat, if it is possible by everyone.
Well, Satiki, I definitely want to keep it in mind. And in the next task, I would invite verbal sharing.
Okay.
However, we are a large group,
Okay.
and
Okay.
also we will use chat as effectively as possible so that everyone has their voice in at least.
Sure. 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 Understood.
So now I'd like you to, at this stage, if you like, you can close your eyes and get in touch with your deepest wish, your values, your feelings, and what you say, what your life needs to be, what this world needs to become. What does your heart say? What shape the organizations and business world needs to take? And what would be the role you would like to see yourself playing in it, in shaping it? What would you like to do for shaping it? So just get to the source, and just for this session, be bold and authentic. I'm not going to hold you accountable. Maybe I won't even remember. Nobody is going to hold you accountable, but just try it. And just say, it's not as if you commit something here, you have to do it, but try to be authentic and courageous. And take 2 minutes. If you like, you can take notes. And after that, I'm going to invite you to share the essence of it, just the essence of it, in not more than 30 seconds, and only one statement. Each person can make only one statement, maybe in the form of no introductions, no um, preface, suffix needed. I wish to, I want to, I value, I want to see something happening, I have a passion for. Just formulate your sentence. Take 2 minutes, 3 minutes. And then whoever is ready can start writing in the chat. And we'll also begin sharing verbally in 3 minutes. Are you ready? Shall we begin? Would some people like to share? I see some statements here in the chat, which we'll read out. But is someone ready to share a sentence? You can unmute yourself and share.
Yes, Uma. I wish to be more kind and forgiving.
Mm-hmm. Wish to be more kind and forgiving. I see here taking on more responsibility and being happy with other people's happiness. I'm passionate about learning, sharing, and contributing. To help myself first by becoming more aware so that I can help others in future. Causing a world of integrity, compassion, and justice. Compassion and
Unconditional love. Yeah.
unconditional love. Yeah. So These are beautiful. Anyone else wants to share?
Yes, this is Anita here. I wish I have a purposeful, satisfactory, and happy life which gives me power to motivate people around me to go in a positive direction, uh, which makes the society be happy and it serves the world to be happy. I mean, being a purposeful and satisfactory life together.
All right, thank you. I wish to work for animal kingdom and nature. I see here. My deep wish is to help others and learning new things. I wish to be more loving and lovable. I desire to become a coach who is able to go to the deepest levels of human psyche and is able to accommodate and support in the true sense. Wonderful. I think very, very powerful things are coming up. Learn to learn in the moment. Anyone else would wish to share? Just one sentence, please. No names required.
Uma, I
Umaji,
wish,
like we causing a world of integrity,
Yeah.
causing a world of integrity, standing for each other, compassionate and unconditional love,
Unconditional love.
being
I read
empathetic
it
to
out.
being empathetic to each other, being empathetic to each other,
Each other. Okay.
cause a loving world.
Uma, what I want to hello.
Yeah, share.
Yeah, I want to share two statements. It says, I wish to live in a world which celebrates differences, and I also wish to see organizations which are taking value-based decisions in all times.
Okay.
Uma,
Great.
I wish recovery. I feel
Yeah.
the society is going through a lot of pain and damage. I wish recovery at all levels, the individual level, institutional level, societal level.
Anyone else would like to? I want to leave a long-lasting impact. Aparna is writing. Annapurna, I want to be more empathetic. Guru Nathan, I want to learn from each and everybody. Let's be happy. I value others' feeling. I want to see others' happiness.
Hi, Uma. I'd like to share more to, trying to pause and reflect. This is a great opportunity. This has been a very great opportunity of the past 30 days to pause and reflect.
Sentence. Just tell your wish. Tell your wish, please.
Getting into, getting the community values together.
Getting the community values.
Yeah. As a community, strengthening that value system of, holding each other.
Holding each other. Okay. Community feeling. You want to strengthen the community feeling, community holding each other. Okay. So, wonderful. I think let's hear one or two responses on, has somebody been able to pick up some important values from all these shares? Integrity, compassion, empathy, social responsibility, social good, others' happiness, learning, helping others,
Humanness,
being a catalyst,
love,
compassion. So a lot of good values are coming, and I don't think we need to go into it. We know how much of these we channelize in our work in organizations, if we are working in an organization, or our day-to-day life, or with the community around. And maybe some of it you're doing, maybe some of it you're not doing, but let's reflect a little more deeply. Next slide, please. What has got triggered in you seeing all these? If you like, you can go through these chats. Take a few minutes and go through all these chats and allow it to sink in. What is it triggering in you? Just let it stay with you. Meanwhile, I want to share with you some of my dreams, and that may also be one day to consider. And these are my dreams, and they may be a little provocative. There may be a little temptation to debate, but we are not going to get into debate here. You're absolutely free to accept, reject, forget about them, listen it with one ear and let it go out of the other ear. But I'm just sharing my dreams. My wish and dream for HR profession is that it moves out of calling itself a business partner. I think that word is created, in my view, I have rather radical views about it, havoc, because we then start doing a substandard role of being a business leader rather than actually being who we are. And so HR needs to move out of calling itself business partner, but needs to become values and conscience partner for the leaders of the organization, for the organization. HR champions the cause of overall social good rather than only the organizational good. I'm not saying that HR will not do organizational good, but along with it needs to hold it together and facilitate the organization in moving towards it. HR people give priority to their mission, professional meaning, impact, influence, and satisfaction, and not to career advancement only. Next one, please. Next. HR professionals enhance their use of self as an instrument of change rather than focus on techniques and technologies. HR uses more of enabling power and sees itself as competence and culture builder rather than manager of systems of recruitment, rewards, and compensations. HR champions and facilitates embracing diversity, inclusion, equity, and justice for all. My wish is that I play a catalyst role in making this happen. Next slide, please. Now, all this has gone in, lots of people have spoken. I don't think what I have spoken goes any way contrary to what all of you are talking actually in your chat. It's just that I'm putting it in a different form, and that is my wish. So you may now reflect on what is resonating with you and touching you in what you have heard. And what has it triggered in you? And what is emerging in you in terms of something very concrete about what you can do or where you would like to move in terms of culture transformation. And please make, once again, as I said earlier, make your own unique statement. No introduction or background is required, no agreement, disagreement. I don't need to appreciate others or just make your own unique statement of where you are, what has touched you, what has got triggered in you, and not the same thing which you have already spoken. Have you gone deeper? What is emerging in you listening to all this and reading all this? So take 2 minutes and then I will invite some shares. Can someone take pictures of these? Maybe I can take all these chats.
Chats can be recorded, can be stored.
Oh, is it? I'm not so savvy in technology. Anyway, continue with your reflection. I will take care of it.
chat is getting recorded, so I will share with you.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Harish.
Uma, can I share something?
Let me just check with others. Are you all through with your reflection? Shall we begin to hear a few people?
Yes.
Sure.
Anyone else? Anyone wants more time, 1 or 2 minutes? All right, Satyaki, please.
So, seeing your vision for HR, I was sad and torn. I was sad because I dreamed the same way, the way you dream, that HR should be partners, not in business, but in values. But the strength of the concept which Ulrich has given in terms of the business partnering, though that concept has totally failed, it is so sad that business does not recognize HR, and HR has become a surrendered servant to the needs of the business.
So,
And just
Satyaki, hold on. We are going to be brief. So what I'm hearing is emerged some sadness in you. Any other things briefly? Along with sadness, do you also have some vision emerging within you? If not now, okay, we'll work on it a little later.
yeah, later.
Okay, let's hear some others.
Nowadays, HRs will become the more social responsible persons.
Yeah, social responsibility. Is this Guru Nathan?
Yes,
Social
ma'am.
person. Yeah. And change is somebody.
Apart from that, they know the values to make the management to attain various levels.
Okay. Who else would like to share? What is emerging in you? Go deeper and say what is emerging in you listening to all this.
Yeah, so I want to say that initially it was like deep sadness because I was feeling so many of us are on the same plane actually. Thinking about similar things in terms of human value or thinking broad, all that. Even vision is like quite close to each other in terms of for HR, for organizations, for human, for society. And then when I started getting deep, and then I came from there, and I felt very energized in terms of okay, so we all are making our own efforts. There are more possibilities to stretch out, reach to each other, collaborate, hold hands with each other, and then some of these wishes that we are saying can be more visible. It must be there, but may not be very very visible, clear. So bringing it in with more clarity is something, the collective responsibilities, and I see myself being energized there to take it ahead.
Here is I something interesting. Thank you, Archana. Something interesting coming from Aishwarya. I am extremely moved by the term HR as culture builders of the organization and HR value partners. These are also my ideals. However, at work, I get caught in the day-to-day regular HR duties and get sucked into the need of the hour. HR, now Anita says HR for the betterment of society, building relations, emerge and drive the values for future generations. So, any other? Can we have brief statements, please? What am I and
Umaji, Milind Rane.
emerging?
Umaji,
Hanji.
I see HR like what calls me in this conversation, what we discuss is HR being a transformer for all the internal, external customers and connecting and collaborating with each one of them.
Mm-hmm.
HR transformer.
HR as a transformer.
Yeah. Thank you.
Who else? Anybody else?
Hello, ma'am. This is Sista. Hello. My take on this is HR is the only person in the organization who is the conscious keeper of the organization. So that emerges going through this the entire discussion that that sole responsibility is on the HR to keep the values and ethics with regard to the workforce and vis-a-vis management. So that is my point here.
Okay, let's go to the. I like to just mention.
I'd like to share something in this more on a paradox sort of a way. So I'll just use Maslow's hierarchy of needs in that.
One minute. May I know who is speaking?
Indira.
Indira, may I stop you here? We are going intellectualizing.
No, I'll just share something which is coming very deep from my needs. So right now, most as an HR,
Indira, can we hear a personal statement rather than general?
Yeah, it's my personal statement. I'll just share something. And very courageously, I would like to share it. And probably right now, as an HR, we are on the caregiver.
There is some disturbance happening from which side? There is some noise. I can't hear you. Can we mute our mics if we have noise in our rooms?
So it's not about, right now reaching out to people, ensuring they are safe and fine and nurturers as a role right now. And when things go in a state when an organization survival is at stake, the chopping of, jobs, it will actually come to, HR is going to have to dirty its hands and get it done. So I'm at that level of paradox where, one day earlier you are nurturing and probably the next day, just for the survival of the bigger organization, you might be chopping heads.
Yeah, what is the statement you are making?
I'm saying paradox and sadness.
You feel sad and you are in a dilemma, is it that?
Yes.
You are in a kind of a dilemma, what to do?
I think it's a possibility in many organizations, and most likely as an HR, we may have to do that.
All right. This is called, if you don't mind, this is downloading of past patterns. I am inviting you just for this session, just for these 15 minutes, stop downloading the patterns and think of possibilities. You may have to do it, fine. Nobody is going to stop you from doing it. You can go ahead and do it. But just now, focus on what can you visualize as a possibility and what is emerging from within you rather than your old patterns of behavior, old ways of thinking, old disabilities, old, that I can't do what I want to do. Values are important, but they cannot be practiced. I can say any amount of it. This is the way we talk to ourselves. And that's why we never use ourselves for transformation. And we continue to do like Ashwarya has written, I get caught into the day-to-day HR duties because we deep down, let me make one more provocative statement, we as HR professionals deep down do not have belief in our own competence, that we can make a change happen. We believe as if we need the approval of people. We need the approval or, kind of a minute to minute appreciation of people around to be able to function. We don't have a sense of conviction that this is what I stand for, this is what I will make happen, and I have the capability to do it. And if not, I will develop that capability. So this is something out of the way. I'm making statement, but this is one of my observation, that we make ourselves busy with day-to-day tasks, housekeeping activities, because at least it gives us a feeling that we have done something. Because the other one is a little fluid area. It is uncertain. It is not so visibly giving us immediate kind of gratification and outcomes. So we find it easier to do something concrete. So this is one possibility I would like you to consider. Harish, can we have the next slide, please? Now, I'd like you to read this recent writing of Arundhati Roy. Just pay some attention to it. It's just so beautiful. I thought I will share it with you. This is in the context of the pandemic, but it can trigger something in us as HR people. I think Arundhati is saying the same thing in her literary style, what Thierry Yu is talking about, not doing downloading of past patterns, but imagining something new. Long back, when I was a OD student at the Institute of Management, Ahmedabad, I read some book in which, next slide please, Hari, in which I had read one very short quote, and that touched me a lot. In those days, when the industrialization was taking place, the mobility was increasing, and the need to develop deep human connections was being emphasized in organizations. What was being said is that we need to have the capacity to begin to belong anywhere we are and develop very temporary, deep connections with human beings. So it said, John Cage said, we carry our homes within us, which enables us to fly. Now, next one, please. In the current word, I have formulated a different version of that. The word of tomorrow perhaps is going to be that we carry the word within us. We have enough exposure, we have internet, we have Zoom calls, we have GoToMeeting, we can connect with anybody in the world, and we have been connecting, and we can allow this whole world to touch us, and we can carry it within us, and we can fly even being at home. We don't need to be getting into airplanes to fly. So this is, and you have done it. I see that you have done it. So many of you are talking about larger human values rather than just the value of you, your job, your, getting your promotions, getting your increments, making a career. In fact, interestingly, no one has talked about that. All of you are talking about larger human values, values of inclusion, justice, compassion, helping society, and you are connected. The only thing is whether you use that deepest source and your wish to bring into action in life, or you, while when it comes to action and day-to-day life, you start doing the old patterns and operate from a sense of incompetence and lack of belief in yourself. So at one more time now, I'd like to invite you. Next slide, please, Harish. Yes, previous. Yeah, no, previous. Yes, this one. Please take a few minutes to now. The next one. Yes, making commitments and action plans. Just please forget about HR function and others. Just based on your deep listening of today, yourself and others, think of one thing you want to commit to, which is doable, which is possible. Let's not go into what is not possible, but something which you know you can commit to, and you are going to develop a kind of a prototype. You're going to act on it and test it out, whether I can do this to transform my role and my organization's culture, or whichever setting that you belong to, and what steps you are going to take for it. So remember, you are just not going to focus on yourself. One thing you want to commit to your own self, which is possible, which is doable, which you are going to experiment with, and which leads to transformation in the direction at least that you want. It may be a small step, but at least it's in the direction that you want, and you are going to commit to doing it. Take a few minutes and then we will invite comments and shares from others, everyone. All right, shall we start sharing? I see that people are leaving. Will focus to increase regularly my consciousness, thinking beyond in motivating people, being more empathetic to employees, making commitment to myself with next step identification. What's that, Guru Nathan? What commitment you are making to yourself? Transform self and help, and will help, support, encourage people to learn, to notice and notice what I don't notice. Why in the organization? I wish to learn more deeply in order to connect and transform self and others. Understanding self and others more, connect at emotional level using EI. being more helpful when expecting others to do a perfect job. Encourage people and help them. Can we have the next slide on, Harish? This is one thing I have always believed in. When I make a commitment from my deepest source, there are circumstances and events which I had never foreseen come up to help me and to make it happen for me. Last slide, please.
Is the screen being shared?
Sorry?
Are we on screen share? Because I'm not able to see.
Yes, 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 yes.
Yes, screen sharing is there.
Now, I would like one member of the group to read out this story aloud. Sometimes we say that, things are so difficult and the change that we need is so big, and what can I as one person do? So it's a beautiful story I read in connection with that.
Oh, ma'am, I'll try that.
Yeah, sure.
Okay. Tell me the weight of a snowflake. A coal mouse asked a wild dove. Nothing more than dove. Yeah. Nothing more than nothing was the answer. In that case, I must tell you a marvelous story. The coal mouse said, I sat on a branch of a fir close to its trunk when it began to snow, not heavily, not in a ragging blizzard, no, just like a dream, just like in a dream without a wound and without any violence. Since I did not have anything better to do, I counted the snowflakes settling on the twigs and needles of my branch. Their number was exactly, now I have to get into the numbers.
37 lakhs 41.
Lakhs, yeah, 37 lakhs 41,952. When the 37 lakhs 41,953 dropped onto the branch, nothing more than nothing, as you say, the branch broke off. Having said that, the coal mouse flew away. The dove, since Noah's time, an authority on the matter, thought about the story for a while and finally said to herself, perhaps there is only one person's voice lacking for peace to come on to the world. Thank you.
Thank you, Neeta. So we can stop the screen share now and see each other and have a little dialogue. Yeah. So let's have it open now to any reflections, questions, sharing. Anybody would like to say something or ask?
Thank you, Dr. Uma. And I think I felt for a moment I felt that I am in one of the ISAB session, going live completely, and self-reflections, doing it here and now, going back into the past, coming back and reflecting. That's the awesomeness of the ISAB's whole. I think school, and you very well brought it out here, even though the time was very less given here and the engagement was online. I know how we do those sessions, but you have done an amazing job, ma'am. And I think we all, though for a moment, at this point of time, probably we may not be able to understand what you have said all through, but I'm sure you have triggered our minds. You have left those beautiful, kindled our mind so much that we might sleep over tonight and think of our self-reflection, self-awareness, and our self-discovery journeys. Thank you once again. And yes, it is a very difficult subject, and you have done greatly on this subject. It's not easy for us to take you through this topic, and I'm sure you must have found it very, very difficult in connecting to tell us what all that you are trying to say, but that's amazingly done. Thank you once again, and thank you for being there.
Thank you, Aishwarya, and I want to thank each one of you for.
Ma'am Annapurna.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Aishwarya is also there, by the way.
Yeah, this is Aishwarya.
She is quietly smiling. She is
Yes.
just quietly smiling.
Yeah. He participated so much that I began to remember Aishwarya more.
Yes,
I
yes.
understand.
So, Annapurna, thank you so much for your polite words. I know, I'm thankful to each one of you for your wonderful cooperation in this difficult design. And it was entrepreneurial, it was my use of self. And I feel greatly rewarded that you have all cooperated and been there. And I also thank all my ISABS colleagues for being there in this journey. And thank you, Harish, for inviting me to do this.
It is always a pleasure, and thank you for such a wonderful session, insightful session, and thank you everyone participating for this 26th session also. Continues. Let us continue this series. So tomorrow again we'll meet at the same time probably. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. I think all of us can clap for ma'am. Digital,
absolutely.
or you can do this.
Thank you. Clap for all of you. You
Yes.
have something for yourself.
Yes.
Thank
I would like to say something. Is that
Yeah, please.
okay? Ma'am, like self-reflection, probably it happened with all of us. But then what all came out of that self-reflection, the courage to speak that out in front of 50, 60 odd people, maybe that was something which we are yet to come up with. And hence there was probably less responses, or people were having in their mind, but how to come up in front of people. Maybe that was something that we were.
So now next is you. Don't worry, Aditi. Next is you. Now make sure that you will speak.
Sure,
I've got that energy now, so I'll definitely. Speak.
Wonderful, wonderful.
And ऐश्वर्या जितनी हंसी है ना उसको भी इसमें लेके आना है अंदर. Right?
Thank you, Mari.
Thank you, ma'am. Thanks everyone.
Thank you, everyone, and a very
Thank you,
good.
sir.
Thank you.
Thank
Thank
you.
you, ma'am.
Bye bye.
Thank you, ma'am. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye bye.